News in the fight over baby Tinslee, the judge ruling in the battle over her life support. Thanks for joining us this midday. I'm Tashara Parker. We've just learned the judge refused the family's request to keep the hospital from pulling the plug. Let's get out to Ariel Placencia at the hospital in Fort Worth with the very latest. Ariel.
Yeah, hey, good morning, Tashara. So at a hearing last month, the judge announced that she would make a decision no later than today. And this morning, we've learned that the judge denied that temporary injunction, which means that the hospital is going to be allowed to take baby Tinslee off life support. However, nothing is going to happen over the next 7 days because according to those official documents filed this morning, the family has 1 week to appeal this decision. Now, I know we've been talking about this case over the past several months, so let's catch everybody up. Take a look. Baby Tinslee was born last year in February with serious lung and heart issues, and she's been in the hospital ever since, relying on a ventilator and feeding tubes. Doctors at Cook Children's say there's nothing more they can do for the baby and that keeping her alive is causing her pain. Some of the nurses even refusing to treat Tinslee, arguing that the treatment hurts her too much. But the baby's family, however, says Tinslee is aware of her surroundings and that her treatment should be their decision. Now, in a statement through Texas Right to Life, Trinity Lewis, who is Tinslee's mother, responded to today's ruling saying, quote, "I am heartbroken over today's decision because the judge basically said Tinslee's life is not worth living. I feel frustrated because anyone in that courtroom would want more time, just like I do, if Tinslee were their baby." Now, her family was given time to find another facility who would care for baby Tinslee, but Cook Children's said they already heard from nearly 20 facilities who said there's nothing more they could do, and they agreed with Cook Children's. But yes, as of this ruling, the judge has denied that temporary injunction. The hospital will be allowed to take Tinslee off life support. However, the family has 1 week to appeal the decision. Tashara, this is one of those cases where nobody's a winner. I'll send it back to you.
All right, Ariel, thank you so much.